My son and his girlfriend aren't married, but referring to her as daughter-in-law is just easier for the sake of storytelling. Our son and daughter-in-law, 26 years old, have been together for 2 years and live together. We've always thought she was a very nice girl, and she seems to make our son happy, so no problem for us. Our son has his own law firm that he's currently trying to get started. We're very proud of him, and we're fortunate enough to help him with a startup loan. Daughter-in-law works a retail job that she's very happy with. Some time ago, my husband and I were over at their apartment and decided to order some food. My husband and I wanted to pay, and since my daughter-in-law was ordering from her phone, we gave her our card so she could draw the money from our account. We thought it goes without saying this was to draw an amount once for lunch. However, my daughter-in-law apparently put our card into her Apple Pay and has been using it ever since. We didn't notice for some months, but recently saw withdrawals we didn't recognize. We had our accountant look into it, and he discovered that 1. Daughter-in-law has been using our card on her phone, and that 2. She spent around $17,000 on designer purses and shoes. We were shocked and called her up and asked her why she's been using our card. She got very defensive, tried to deny it, and eventually said she was entitled to it and asked why we cared since we hadn't noticed her use for over 4 months. We told her she needed to pay us back immediately or we'd report her actions for theft. She apparently doesn't have the money to pay us back. We've gone to our son and he's offered to pay us back, even though he actually can't afford to. This isn't about the money for us, but more about the fact that she's stolen a huge amount of money. While we're comfortable and it took us some time to notice, we still recognize the seriousness of stealing $17,000 US. Our son has completely dismissed her behavior and excused it as her being stressed. She's taken no responsibility, and we honestly want to go forward with a police report to teach her the consequences of her actions. Am I the idiot for suing my daughter-in-law? Not the idiot. She doesn't think stealing $17,000 is an issue, and she's entitled to it. Let the police convince her otherwise. The audacity of this girl. I don't care who it is, how close I am to them, or how much money they have. Never in a million years would I ever steal like this. I wonder if she tried to tell your son it was an accident and her phone just happened to save the card. She knew exactly what she was doing. A broke person doesn't just blow $17,000 in 4 months. They're careful with their money. I don't spend that much money on myself in 3 years, let alone 4 months. This was no accident, OP. Press charges. OP, your credit card will only reverse the charges if you file a police report. Usually, then the credit card cancels the debt portion as fraudulent. If you just chose to sue her civilly, you'll still be liable for the debt. And even if you get a judgment, she may not pay it. I wouldn't give her any special pass to avoid criminal charges, and your son should make certain she's on solid birth control. I don't see this relationship lasting. How can he tolerate a wife who steals if he's a lawyer? Exactly. OP, you can either get the police involved, go nuclear, hope for a felony conviction, or hope your son wakes up with a humiliation and you save him. Or wait 10 years or so before your son comes to his senses and they get married and divorced after 2 children and a mortgage, financially ruining your son for the next 20 years. Those are your 2 choices. Yeah, if the daughter-in-law is this entitled, I have a feeling one day she won't have a problem stealing from the son's law firm or something else that could get him into serious trouble. But I have a feeling OP is loaded. They didn't notice $17,000 in charges. It's definitely not about the money. I would use it as leverage to get this nut job out of my son's life. Also, the son has a law firm. Steal from his accounts or his trust accounts, and his license is gone. The fact he doesn't see this theft as an issue is a real red flag on how he sees his profession. And the fact that he's excusing her and is willing to lay them back to protect her is really problematic. This woman has shown absolutely no remorse, guilt, or shame for her actions. The only way she may learn her lesson is for her to face some real consequences. Please file the police report. My mom is currently visiting from out of state. This is extremely rare, and we don't see much of each other. I'm aware my wife doesn't like her, but I hope she would try to let the little stuff slide as visits are so rare. My mom is a big crier, and once she starts, it just gets hysterical, and then she snaps out of it and acts dazed. To be fair, she knows we hate it and tries to hide it from us if she's upset, but I'm not sure she can control it, as she's done it in public, at work, etc. Everything's been okay since she came. A bit awkward, but okay. My wife wasn't feeling well the other day and left work. My mom didn't know about this and was cooking when my wife got home. She was video calling her husband and in one of her full-blown sobbing fits. According to my wife, it was about 50% that she's so bored here and 50% she misses him and wants to go home to him. She said one time we were sucky hosts and didn't say anything about us beyond that, except that it's boring here. My wife snuck up to the bedroom and didn't let my mom know she was home. She called me right away and was furious. She wanted me to confront my mom. I explained that I didn't think it was a big deal that she was venting her feelings to her husband. She didn't say anything personal or overly hurtful, and to be honest, she's allowed to be bored. She can be honest with her husband when she thinks she's alone. When I got home, my wife was clearly uncomfortable. She said my mom was in her room and asked me to confront her when she came out. She wanted me to tell her she was disrespectful and to stop being ungrateful. I asked if my mom had said or done anything to her, and she said nothing beyond the phone call, so I declined. My mom's eyes were bloodshot at dinner, but beyond that, she was acting normal and polite. My wife was cold to me all night, and when we went to bed, she said I needed to defend her and our house, and that my mom was bad-mouthing her and acting like an entitled guest and a spoiled princess. I told her she was overreacting, which was a wrong move, and that my mom has the right to process her emotions and to be bored. Not the idiot. Your wife might be a little oversensitive and taking things personally. Does she get stressed having someone in the house? Because stress can do that to a person. Your poor mother, though. I just want to hug her. Has she had her hormones and thyroid and all of that checked? And poor you, caught in the middle. Everyone could use an extra dose of hugs. You are the idiot. Have you considered that your mother fake cries to manipulate people and shield herself from criticism? Her crying to her husband guaranteed her getting spoiled when she got home. You say she can stop crying very quickly. You give the impression that you won't talk to your mom about calling you and your wife sucky host because you know she'll just cry again and the conversation will go nowhere. As a side note, it's deeply hypocritical to spend a whole post describing how your mother is a big crier and gets hysterical, presumably for as long as you can remember, then go and accuse your wife of overreacting. Are you okay with people overreacting or not? And please, I beg of you, don't justify it with, "That's just how your mom is." Thank you. I can't believe so many people are buying the mother's act. She needs therapy, and others need to stop enabling her because everyone's bending over backward for this manipulative woman. She knows she can weaponize her issues. If I were your wife, I would confront her, and she can cry back home. Does your mom do this at work? Shoot, I may be an idiot, but rest assured my spouse would be comfortable in their home, and I would stick up for them, no matter what. In that case, mommy's tears. I, 23 female, love my boyfriend, 24, and have been dating him for about 2 years. He has always been supportive, and our relationship is great. So when it came time for Christmas, I wanted to get him something special. He's been complaining about his laptop for a while and wants to upgrade to a newer model. So I decided I would surprise him with a brand new laptop for Christmas. I wanted to get him the best laptop I could. So for the weeks leading up to Christmas, when he'd complain about his laptop, I'd take these opportunities to casually ask him which laptop he liked, what he wanted in a new laptop, and so on. The main problem he had with his laptop was the speed. So I thought it would be fitting to get him the same model that he had, MacBook Pro, just the latest version. Now, I'm not a tech person. I don't know the first thing about RAM, SSD, etc. I just assumed a $1,300 laptop would be more than enough for his needs. So I bought the laptop without doing any more research into it. Christmas Day came and I gave my boyfriend the laptop. He was so excited until he saw the specs. When he saw that the laptop had 8 gigs of RAM, he was really disappointed because he, quote, couldn't get his work done on such a slow machine. He was adamant that he needed something with more RAM. This turned into a full-blown argument. I tried to explain to him that I had done my best and spent a lot of money on the laptop, so he should appreciate it, but he wasn't having it. He said he would rather return the laptop and get the one he wanted. At this point, I was really hurt and upset. I had gone out of my way to get him a really nice present, and I felt like he didn't appreciate it at all. Yes, I could return it and get him the one he wanted, but I'd already spent a lot of money. The fact that he wasn't even willing to give it a chance made me really frustrated. So, long story short, I decided to re-gift the laptop to my sister, 19. She's a college student, and I know she could really use a laptop like this. I know it may sound selfish, but I didn't think it was fair that he didn't appreciate my gift, and I wanted to make sure the laptop went to someone that would actually appreciate it. My boyfriend is angry. He doesn't understand why I wouldn't just return it and get him the one he wanted, and cannot believe I would do something so selfish when I know how much he needs a new laptop. I feel kinda bad, but at the same time, this wasn't cheap for me, and a little appreciation would have been nice. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Your boyfriend sounds like he was appreciative of your gift, but he needed a machine that could do what he needed it to do. That's the risk of getting a laptop or something similar, cars, etc., without the involvement of the person you're buying it for. The correct action would have been to return the laptop and allow him to put the money towards a machine that fits his needs. Not to mention, once you gift something, it doesn't belong to you anymore. It was his laptop, and you took it to gift your sister. Put it another way. Imagine you drive a crappy old car to work. It's falling apart. You often complain to your boyfriend about how crappy it is and how it barely gets you to your job, a 30-minute car ride away. Your boyfriend picks up on this and decides to surprise you for Christmas with a brand new bike. Sure, it's nice and very thoughtful, but it's not what you need to get to work. But just give it a chance. No, giving a bike a chance to be a car isn't realistic. It's just not the right gift. Bingo. Also, who spends $1,300 on a laptop without even doing the research that it'll actually perform for its purpose? A $1,300 laptop with only 8 gigs of RAM is insane. This would sound like a Facebook marketplace scam if it wasn't an Apple. The effort was halfway, and you just gave his gift away when he got upset. You should have returned it with your boyfriend, and he could have paid the difference to upgrade. OP, you're placing more importance on your need to feel validated in your gift giving, rather than wanting to make sure your gift will actually be useful and appreciated. My kids have blonde hair and blue eyes and are quite fair. I have dark brown eyes and black hair and am naturally tan. Clearly, the kids take after their father. A couple days ago, I took the kids with me to a grocery store while my husband was at work. The second we walked in, an elderly woman began awing my kids. My kids are usually great with new people, but they were uncomfortable, so I smiled at the lady and quickly gathered the kids and walked away. But then about 20 minutes after, I noticed the lady staring at us. See, we live in a rural white town that doesn't see many non-white people, so I try to avoid places with too many people because I always get dirty looks, and it makes me uncomfortable. Many people have followed me, and I've gotten some threats and insults as well. My husband told me to quickly alert someone whenever something like this happens, preferably the police. So this woman kept following us and even glared at me at one point. So I panicked and went up to an employee and told her that a woman was following my kids and me. She called over other employees, and a couple stayed with me while the others went to find the lady. It wasn't hard as she was close by. When confronted, the lady immediately began to cry and said that she was just making sure the kids were safe, and she didn't know if I was their mom. She asked me if I was happy now, and if something happened to her because of all the stress I caused, then I'd better be sorry. The employee asked me what I wanted to do, and I just said I'd pay for my things and leave. I told my sister-in-law what happened since she came over to get something of hers, and she said I overreacted and probably scared the crap out of the poor woman. After all, she's not wrong. The kids look nothing like you. I don't know. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The lady needs to confront her biases, and so does the sister-in-law. It was pretty weird to follow you around and make you uncomfortable, and it probably creeped out the kids too. She was embarrassed and trying to cover up for her weird behavior. And your sister-in-law said you overreacted to a woman following you and your kids around because your kids don't look like you? What in the bigoted family did you marry into? She might not be the best person to ever talk to about this. Oh, let me tell you a little story. Several white friends of mine have cute brown babies, and this has never happened to them. People follow them and say things like, "Oh, what a beautiful family." I have 2 separate black friends, one male and one female, who have white kids. One's a foster mom and the other an adoptive father. Guess what happens when they go to the park? It's definitely racist intent to watch out for those people and keep an eye on them. Like, we all knew that old lady was white, instantly. There wasn't an old brown lady stopping a brown mom to check that the white kids were hers. It was a white lady afraid someone was stealing white kids. It's offensive, awful, and harassing. The amount of stress she received is much lower than the amount of stress she gave. I have a coworker about my daughter's age who rarely remembers bringing lunch to work, and when she does, it's usually chips or crackers or something, not real food. One time I offered her something my wife made, and she loved it, so my wife started making extra food for her for lunch. My wife is from a big Indian family and likes making lots of food, and she misses doing that now that most of our kids are grown, so she's okay with making the extra dishes. Anyway, another coworker, also a woman but closer to my age, said that I'm being inappropriate in the workplace. She said it's not nice to share food with only one coworker, that it looks like I'm flirting, and it's making people uncomfortable. As I said, the coworker I'm giving the food to is my daughter's age. Although she's very nice and friendly to me, we have nothing in common other than liking my wife's cooking and working in the same place. So I don't see how her interpretation is logical. She also said I should think about how all the people who don't get free food feel. This also makes no sense to me because no one can afford to do something nice for everyone in the world. Also, if this other coworker wanted me to bring her some samosas, she could have just asked. Not the idiot. Your coworker wasn't invited to the sandbox once in elementary school, and it's haunted her ever since. You're doing a very kind thing. Many of my coworkers are kiddos compared to me, and I've fed them many times. I just can't accept that they don't have food to eat during lunch or dinner. Imagine you're flirting with your wife's cooking. So funny. I bet this woman is just jealous of free food. LOL. There was a time in my 20s when my finances were wrecked, and if a coworker hadn't treated me like you're treating your coworker, then I would have gone hungry most days. I'd forget my lunch and eat crackers, but I couldn't afford it. You're doing a good thing here, and don't let someone ruin that. I love the idea of a legacy of kindness. Darned onions making my eyes water. OP, you sound like an amazing parent. The coworkers need to mind their own business. It has nothing to do with them. Keep doing what you guys want. Sounds like everyone who should have an opinion is happy.